Hello everyone, this is my review for Monday Night Raw on April 14th, 2014 and April 21st, 2014. I didn't get to the last week's review, so I'm going to kind of bundle both of them into this one review and overview of everything that was going on. Just to start out with last week's Raw, the beginning of Monday Night Raw with the tribute to the Ultimate Warrior, obviously with the tragic passing over a couple weeks ago at this point. I felt they did a very good job there, and as a person who's watched WWE and back in the day WWF and wrestling in general for pretty much most of my life, I felt they did a good job getting everything into the tribute video that they wanted to. I liked the ringing of the bell afterwards. They did what they were what they needed to do there, and then of course them doing their tributes throughout the rest of the week on WWE Network and the continuation of showing his great moments on Monday Night Raw, I thought was really well done and a very class act on them. For me personally, I'm maybe not the biggest Ultimate Warrior fan, but I definitely have moments where I remember going back in the past watching them. I remember as a little kid at 8 years old watching WrestleMania 8 when he returned to help help out Hulk Hogan in the main event. I remember as like a little kid just marking out at that moment in time. So it was that was just one of those moments that I definitely remembered. Thoughts and everything out to his family. Hope everything ends up going well for them in the end. And just tragic passing, and it's sad to see that happen at this point in time, especially when it seemed as if everything had been ironed out and it was a new start between Ultimate Warrior and the WWE at this point. So I definitely felt it was a class act that they continued with the tribute videos and the full tribute throughout the week. So a very good job on WWE on that part. Now this brings to basically the last 2 weeks of Raw, and a few things that I actually thoroughly enjoyed throughout the entire through those 2 weeks. One, the Intercontinental Title Tournament for the #1 contendership for a match against Big E Langston. I like seeing tournaments on there, mainly because if you don't really have a feud going for that belt, this is a good way for the person who ends up winning the tournament to build instant credibility and gives the fans a good reason to think that they deserve this title shot. And of course, having it be with 8 people, you can build it over a few weeks, and obviously you have an instant feud at that point. I've liked most of the matches so far. Of course, you had the Cesaro Mark Henry match, which was pretty good, and obviously another way of showing off Cesaro's strength. Alberto Del Rio and RVD was a pretty good match. We had seen those in the past, though. Sheamus. Sheamus's match was another pretty good one. Sheamus's match with Jack Swagger was a pretty good match in itself there. And of course, Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett in there as well. All the first round matches I felt were really good, and obviously this led into the semifinal matches, which were Cesaro and RVD, which I felt it was a good match, but it came off a little bit weak in the end. Just obviously at the aspect of them trying to continue on with Jack Swagger and Cesaro at this point, for Cesaro changing his allegiances and going with Paul Heyman as his manager versus Zeb Coulter. And obviously they want to build Cesaro a little bit slowly, kind of test the waters with him to see how his popularity really is, and see if it just fizzles out over this. And that led with what I felt was probably the far better match, which was Sheamus and Wade Barrett. Those two have always put on a really good match, and this was another one with a great ending. It was a great way of using the bullhammer elbow for Wade Barrett, and I had that feeling that they're gonna go, since they decided to stray away from Cesaro going for the Intercontinental title. At this point, it looks like they'll have Wade Barrett going there, because I don't see them having a face versus face match at Extreme Rules. It really wouldn't fit well with RVD versus Big E Langston, and Barrett's probably the far better choice at this point. His match with Sheamus this week was great, and a great spot right at the end to get the finish there. So overall, I've liked how they've done the tournament so far, and we'll see what kind of match we get with RVD and Bad News Barrett, or Wade Barrett, however we're going to really be calling him. I guess just Bad News Barrett at this point. So, so with that one out of the way, of course, they've also been continually building the new NXT talent that's coming up, obviously continuing with promo packages for Bo Dallas and for Adam Rose, and then continuing having matches to kind of just get people acclimated to Alexander Rusev and Paige. And obviously them giving Paige the Divas title at this point, they haven't really done anything to build the match with Paige and Tamina at this point. For Extreme Rules, and then they do kind of have a semi-build for Alexander Rusev now having the handicap tag match with Xavier Woods and R-Truth. So you saw just a continuation of them building them, putting them in a match, and having them go out there and show what they can do. So not bad, but nothing really special there. This brings me to the Kane, and I guess where they're going with Daniel Bryan as well now. And the week before, they had Stephanie McMahon reprimanding Kane and asking him where was the demon, the monster Kane that we had always seen, and how he had been failing and trying to get rid of Daniel Bryan. And obviously they kind of led this to where Kane was going to put back on the mask and try to bring out that monster again, which is what you saw right at the beginning of Raw this week. Obviously, Daniel Bryan with real life deals with his wedding and then honeymoon wasn't on Raw last week, but coming back this week, seeing. Obviously, they want to put Kane in the upper hand at this point in the storyline, so they had him go out there and destroy Daniel Bryan. I don't find that as a way of burying Daniel Bryan. I find that as a way of, okay, they're building the story around Kane becoming this monster again, so he has to go over in a beatdown fashion over Daniel Bryan, and using the Tombstone Piledriver in those three spots was a great way of doing it. Doing the tombstone on the floor, the stairs, and the table. It was a great way of showing that Kane was going to be at least dominant leading into the match that will more than likely happen with Extreme Rules with him and Daniel Bryan. So I would feel that some people would find that as a way of them trying to bury Daniel Bryan. I just see it as more of them trying to get over the fact that Kane's back to being this monster, and he has to go over at this point in the storyline before Daniel Bryan will more than likely go over at the end of the storyline. Speaking with Extreme Rules matches, obviously they had the reformation on the week before's Raw with Evolution, and them trying to punish the Shield. Obviously they had the 11 men go out there beforehand to have that handicap tag match, the initial beatdown, and then the music hits and you see the reformation of Evolution. Of course, minus Ric Flair at this point, because they're not going to bring Ric Flair in for any capacity unless they decide to bring him in just as a manager's role for any reason that they want to. And then, they could do that in the end, let him be a manager for Evolution. And then that led into this week's, which was basically a promo that they were just setting up, which didn't really come off that well because it looked like throughout the day, I guess Triple H had some kind of cold or something. He didn't look, but he sounded horrible on the mic tonight. He got his points across what he needed to do, and then pass it off to Randy Orton and Batista to get their points across, which of course led to the Shield coming out with them cutting their portion of the promo, which Dean Ambrose did what he normally did, and same with Roman Reigns leading up to the the confrontation at the Rampway, which, you know, nice little tease again with them looking like they were going to go at it, but no, the 11 guys who were there from the week before came back out to, you know, just basically stop the Shield in their tracks. And obviously this is what I think they're going to go with for the time being, which is just teasing confrontations with them leading into the Extreme Rules 6-man tag. And, you know, I have no real big problem with that. I think they'll probably try something next week where either Evolution gets the upper hand or maybe the Shield gets some kind of upper hand going into the pay-per-view. And this brings me to my last area that I'm going to go over from these last 2 weeks, which is the Wyatt family and John Cena storyline. I really liked I really liked the storytelling that they did with the match at WrestleMania with Bray Wyatt trying to bring out the monster inside John Cena, and then them continuing on with this storyline, you know, with you know, Bray Wyatt, you know, telling, basically cutting promos on how the fans are basically listening to Bray and Bray Wyatt, and, you know, they're going away from John Cena. And we've always seen the 50-50 split from the crowd, but they make it feel like it's becoming more and more and more towards Bray Wyatt. You see a lot of the sing-along with the crowd at this. And I like the aspect that they're bringing the crowd reaction into the storyline, and obviously where Bray Wyatt is still trying to bring that monster outside of in John Cena and make it come out going through this storyline. I've liked the storytelling in the just with this deal with the Wyatt family and Cena, and then of course them doing the fan vote where the fans voted for Cena to go on a 3-on-1 and making it seem like that they are turning on him even more. Who knows if that was the actual fan vote or if that was just something that they fabricated in the end. We'll never truly know, but it would definitely be really cool if it was the actual fan vote. So and again, that's something we'll never actually know, because you kind of will, if you go to the WWE app to do any of the votes, they can basically do whatever they want with them. If they give the true numbers, they give the true numbers. If they don't, they don't. They basically will get what they want out of that aspect. But I've liked where they've been going with the whole John Cena and Wyatt family storyline, and it's going to be a great, hopefully a continued great storytelling going into the steel cage match at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So, you know, over the last couple weeks, I felt Raw has been, you know, it's been pretty good. It's not been anything crazy great. Obviously, the reformation of Evolution, kind of getting the nostalgia factor in there, was a really good touch into it. And a few other things, like I said, I've liked the #1 contendership Intercontinental title tournament. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, Raw's been a pretty good one over the last couple weeks. Nothing too crazy good, but, you know, a pretty good one, fun watches, and some pretty good storytelling that they've been trying to pull off over these last couple weeks. So yeah, those are my reviews for the last couple weeks of Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.